15% of online transactions still fail, and many businesses have no idea why they fail. That's a gigantic issue. Neither Adyen or Stripe or PayPal or Chase Merchant Services, pick whichever PSP you want. None of them can control the entire value chain in fintech. Business shouldn't care about the rail, just like people don't care about TCP/IP, right? The average consumer freaks out when they hear that, an agent will access their financial account. And I don't think there's any way back. I think we're reaching that point of no return.
Guys, welcome back to Wrap Up Podcast. Today's guest is Davi Strazza, someone who has seen payments from two very different angles. After more than a decade at Adyen, helping scale one of the industry's leading companies, Davi is now Chief Business Development Officer at Lightspark, building next generation money movement on Lightning and few other products that he's going to tell me about today. Davi, welcome on the show.
Thanks, Sam. It's great to be here.
Davi, you worked for so many years at Adyen, but before that in other payment companies. Why have you decided to move, I would say, to the other side of the road, not traditional rails, but blockchain rails? Why?
Yeah, look, I've built my entire career in fintech, and I can say I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
And when it comes to payment acceptance, I think the industry has tried to optimize every single thing that is broken or that is not extremely efficient for the longest time. And I'd say that with some success, but despite all the efforts of phenomenal companies like Adyen and their competitors, if you look deeply, if you look close enough, payments still is fairly broken. And it doesn't matter like which angle you approach it. If you look at payment acceptance, 15% of transactions online will fail. There's a lot of false positives in the system. Merchants lose billions and billions of dollars in lost revenue. If you look at how money moves across borders, it's still very expensive, slow. And so, again, you can approach it from any angle. The bottom line is it's fintech or global money movement isn't a solved problem. And when I came across Lightspark, when I talked to David, I got really excited about the idea of fixing those problems that, again, have existed for decades. And I think not only Lightspark has the team, the technology to, tackle that that problem head on, but I think we're now at a time where everything is aligned. I think there's finally a window in the industry for companies like Lightspark to go out and try and solve global money movement, try and solve access to financial services at scale. So, those are some of the reasons, but I'm extremely excited about what we're doing here.
Right. Davi, why do you think companies such as, let's say, Adyen or Stripe or a few other big names were not able to fix this broken payment system? You said it's broken. So, those guys have been in the market for some time now. They have huge amounts of resources, in terms of funding, teams, etc. Why couldn't they fix it? And why do you think Lightspark could be the company to fix it?
Yeah, well, neither Adyen or Stripe or PayPal or Chase Merchant Services, pick whichever PSP you want. None of them can control the entire value chain in fintech. And that is part of the problem. Despite, again, the efforts of these businesses to optimize every single metric in payment acceptance, the value chain is so complex and so entrenched, and it's so different per market. That, again, you can only go so far. And ultimately, again, if you optimize at the surface level, but you're still relying on legacy rails when it comes down to the jobs to be done, then again you're not truly able to make a meaningful difference in outcomes. And so if I look at, again, our position today and just to get what's happening in the industry, I think for the first time, we are in a position where we can approach things from first principles. And so instead of looking, for example, at global money movement and think, okay, how do we optimize Swift? How do we make it possible for folks to move money from point A to point B cross borders in real time, 24/7?
Okay.
The answer to that has been, going out to a bunch of different countries, building a massive balance sheet in those countries, like managing liquidity, managing FX exposure. It's extremely complex
Okay.
because, again, you have the underlying issues. I think in the last couple of years, the industry has evolved to such a point where crypto rails became a viable alternative to Swift when it comes to global money movement. And if
All
you
right.
look at, again, what Lightspark is doing is we're not necessarily trying to replace completely all of the traditional rails out there. What we're doing is we're building a network. We're building connectivity between all of those local real-time payment rails, and we are using crypto rails to help connect the dots, to help move funds from point A to point B very efficiently, at a low cost, and of course, instantly in the vast majority of the cases. And so again, I think it's a combination of the industry shift
Mm-hmm.
and the technology that we have here at Lightspark that puts us in a position where we can look at this problem, like global real money movement that has
Right.
been around for decades, and approach it from first principles instead of just really trying to patch old systems.
David, tell me more about Lightspark. So I would love to understand how you guys, okay, fixing that broken system. You said the value chain is too broad, too complex. Okay, tell me about Lightspark, how you guys approach to handle this complexity and how you are solving this problem.
Yeah, we're approaching it from multiple angles. The first thing that is important is you you have to understand that payments is cultural. It's very entrenched, like I said. It will be very different in its compliance terms and its technical terms depending on the market you go. And
Okay.
so, if you want to build a global network, a global solution, again, you need to build an infrastructure that sort of connects to all of those different payment methods that exist and operate at scale in those
All right.
local geographies. And so that is one of the first things we did. Like we went out and we started to build connectivity to infrastructure, to local infrastructure like Pix in Brazil, or UPI in India, or SEPA Instant in Europe. And there are many other examples, right? We covered 65 plus countries today. And once you've done that, then again, the question is, how do you make these local systems that don't talk to each other connect? And here again, not only we're leveraging crypto rails
All
to
right.
move funds from the US to Europe, or from Europe to Brazil, and we build capabilities to sort of do that on top of Lightning, or on top of stablecoin infrastructure as well. I mean, we orchestrate between the two. We can dive in there if you want. But anyhow, we found a way to effectively connect those endpoints that didn't talk to each other before. So that is
Okay.
a big part of what we focused on in the last several years, and we're doing that really well. I mean, we have large businesses like SoFi, Nubank, Coinbase relying on our technology today.
Davi,
Um,
let me interrupt you here and ask this question. Are you guys a blockchain infrastructure provider, or are you guys are like let's say more banking as a service provider? Because from my research, what I understand that Lightspark was initially built on Lightning, right? So you were facilitating transactions on Lightning network. But now you say you guys are integrating to Pix, basically a lot of local rails in Europe, Latin America, and a few other countries, like 65 plus, you said. So what are you exactly? Are you a blockchain company, infrastructure provider, or are you more like traditional BaaS provider?
it's a good question. I think at the core we're really focused on just financial technology.
Okay.
Um, Blockchains and traditional rails, they will coexist.
All right.
I don't think traditional rails will be here forever. Um, that being said, I don't think that blockchain will fully replace traditional rails anytime
All
soon.
right.
And so, for the foreseeable future, it's really critical that the industry understands how to make those two pieces of broad infrastructure connect
Mm,
and talk to each other. This is what we're
right.
doing, and so it's not, again, Lightspark is pretty deep on Bitcoin and building on Lightning.
Right.
Um, One could say that we are a Bitcoin company. I think we are to a good extent, but we're not only a Bitcoin company. Like I said, I mean, a
Okay.
big part of our mission is to ensure that someone in the US
Mm-hmm.
can send money to somebody in Brazil. And the way
All
we
right.
do that, I mean, is essentially a fiat to fiat transaction. We're making RTP, FedNow, um, plug
So bas
into PIX, right, in Brazil,
right. Right.
something that wasn't possible before. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of our customers are working with us for fiat to fiat flows.
I see. I
We
see.
use crypto behind the scenes, but
So
businesses shouldn't
basically,
care.
so basically, crypto is one of those rails for you guys, right? Let's say Lightning is one of the rails and one of the solutions that you offer, like among others, right? Do I understand correctly?
Correct. We use Lightning as a rail. Like I said, we could do a stablecoin sandwich as well. And by the way, like when it comes to stablecoins, we can obviously also use that as an asset, right? I mean, we
Mm,
have the ability to, or our customers have the ability to pay out in stables,
stable.
or even on a P2P basis. People can send money to someone else in a country where there's currency volatility, and the recipient doesn't necessarily need to get local fiat currency. They can
Hmm.
get paid out in stable coins. What?
I see. Okay, I will go into stablecoins in a moment, but before that, can you please tell me a few products or solutions that you guys have? Because again, I went to your website to do a bit of a research myself, and one thing I understand that you are to a certain sense provider of infrastructure APIs for payment companies, but what else do you guys do? Lightning is one, traditional rails is two. What else do you guys offer?
Yeah. So, like I said, global money movement has been a big part of our mission, and we've done a phenomenal job connecting the local payment, the local real-time payment rails, and we have a bunch of customers that are live under that solution set.
Okay.
Um, what gets me really excited is our newest product,
Okay.
Grid Global Accounts, which is essentially taking everything that we've done on the global money movement side and expanded that to be able to offer our customers uh, a capability to build a neobank, if you will, from the ground up. What does
All
that mean
right.
in practice? If you are a marketplace, for example, or if you are a commerce platform, a vertical SaaS business that is supporting small business owners, if you are a global HR business that is moving money to freelancers or contractors, I mean, for all of those businesses, they are at the heart of where the economic activity happens.
All right.
Now, when when it comes to the when it comes to the payout side of things, once they pay out, once they disperse the funds to the
Okay.
freelancer, to the restaurant, to the
Mm-hmm.
retail shop, um, that's the end of the road. I mean, money gets out of their platform and
Yeah.
goes to a third party bank, and that is it.
Okay.
Um, what we launched allowed these companies to expand their participation in the value chain. How so? Like Grid Global Accounts essentially is a global USD account
Okay.
that our businesses can offer, our customers can offer to their customers. Um, that USD balance can be a stable coin that they issue themselves, and so they get the benefit of the yield on those
All right.
balances. They can brand it if they want, or they can just present it as a USD balance to the users.
Okay.
The account itself is a non-custodial account, which comes with a lot of benefits in terms of its flexibility, its global reach. It comes with a Visa card attached, and so those balances become immediately spendable across the 100 million plus businesses that accept Visa. It comes with the ability for users to locally off ramp, which is really critical. And so
Okay.
if I'm in Mexico and I have a USD balance sitting in one of these accounts, but for some reason I need Mexican pesos, I
Right.
can quite literally push a few buttons and press a few clicks, and then money will be out from that account onto my local bank account in Mexican pesos, real time, 24/7 on a
Davi,
Sunday at 2 a.m. And there
let
are more capabilities that go with it. But
all right.
yeah, I understand you have a question.
I have a question regarding this particular new future global
Yeah,
account. So, I mean, it's a great. I like the idea. Like, basically, let's say, um, do I understand correctly? It works in Europe as well. In Europe, UK. Let's say I have a marketplace in the UK that facilitates, let's say, mentorship. There is a mentor, there is a mentee, and mentee pays to mentor. Can I just go and integrate to you guys and start offering accounts for the mentors who, I mean, use my platform? Do I understand it correctly?
yeah, you
Does
understood
it
correctly.
mean does it mean in that case I don't need to be US resident to basically open an account with? I mean, you got me right.
Yeah,
Do what I want to ask, like, who handles the KYC, KYB, and as well as compliance part of things? Because there is a regulation, right? How do you handle that part, or do you ask your, let's say, partner to handle that part?
yeah. So we have, of course, obligations ourselves. We're first party licensed in the US, in Europe, and so we invested a lot of time building compliance infrastructure, AML infrastructure to be able to help our customers with anything that touches risk and compliance.
Okay.
um, our customers also have responsibilities when it comes to that. And so, because we work with enterprise businesses, more often than not, we sit down with them and we discuss what is the construct, what is the use case they want to explore, how is money moving from point A to point B, like what's the money flow and all of those types of things, and we discuss what's the most effective and secure way to ensure that the construct we built is compliant and it's secure and it's resilient, right? And so that
Right.
is one important aspect that is
Okay.
all built into the account structure. Now, back to your question, you are correct. I mean, you for the longest time, if you wanted a USD account, you
Yeah.
needed to be in the US.
Yes.
Um, that is no longer the case. Um,
Why is that?
through through Grid Global Accounts, our customers can offer a USD account to users all over the world, right? Some exceptions apply, of course, for the compliance reasons that we discussed. Now, how did we get to this point? There are a few things that are important. First is if you think about non-custodial wallet infrastructure, historically
Okay.
it's been incredibly difficult for users to access and manage non-custodial wallets. It's just very complex. It comes with, or it used to come with, a fair bit of risk, and that has changed. There
Okay.
are a bunch of players and companies out there that have figured that out. What I mean by figure that out, essentially built the ability to offer non-custodial wallets
Okay.
and abstract all the complexity of managing a non-custodial wallet away from the user. And so making it
Mm-hmm.
really simple for them to recover the account, for example, if they need. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is one important development. The second important development is after Genius has passed, again, we now have regulatory clarity around stablecoin
All
usage,
right.
and so you can work with a digital dollar, right?
All
And you
right.
can work with it at global scale. That is the second very important thing. Finally, we have today infrastructure, like I said, that allows us to move funds across borders very effectively. This is what we've been focusing on for the last several years. And so when you combine all of those industry shifts,
Mm-hmm.
we think this is the perfect moment for that
All right.
product to exist. It couldn't exist before, but now it can. And so again, when we think about the demand for this product, there's huge demand for the US dollar.
Okay.
But that demand has always been constrained. I mean, it's been restricted. I mean, people have been restricted the access to the US dollar if they weren't in the US. which is no longer the case.
Davi, is this product for, let's say, companies or customers based in the US, or is it for rather, are you targeting rather the customers abroad, let's say Europe, the UK, or let's say South America, maybe somewhere else? I'm asking this question for a reason. Let's say there could be a local player in, let's say, in the market. I'm in the UK, there is a local player who offers me, let's say, US accounts. And that player is regulated here in the UK and has licenses, and I just want to understand, let's say, why this I should go to you guys, not to this local player. If you could explain.
Well, I think it really comes down to the use case you're solving for as a business.
Okay.
Like I said, think about a global HR platform or
All
a
right.
global ARAP business or a global
Mm-hmm.
marketplace. For a lot of these businesses, their user base is very international. They have, their sellers or their submersions or their contractors in the UK, but in Brazil, in Mexico,
Yeah.
in Asia, in Africa, they're all over the place.
Okay.
And the default option for all of
Mm-hmm.
these businesses when it comes to, again, paying out the money that these people earn in their platforms was to essentially move money out of the system meaning
Mm-hmm.
like out of their infrastructure, out of
Okay.
their ecosystem. And so
Okay.
they moved it to a third party bank. And that, again, is the end of the road. Um, it hasn't been possible up until, again, very recently, for them to offer that seller that lives in Brazil or that freelancer that is in the UK. It hasn't been possible to them to offer that person a USD account. And this
Okay.
is the gap we're closing. Now, you may argue, like, why someone in the UK needs a USD account? Maybe they don't, right?
Yeah.
But again,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the global South, if you look at all of those emerging markets, there is a lot of demand, and
That
whether
is
that's
enough.
because their local currency is very volatile or because they have expenses in USD. I mean, there are a multitude of reasons why there is a demand for a USD account,
No,
and
I
I mean
absolutely
that's the
get it.
problem that we are helping solve.
No, I absolutely get it. I'm from Uzbekistan, and this is totally relevant to me. There is a huge, I mean, for example, demand for USD. Even though we have local currency, sometimes it fluctuates. That's why I totally get it what you mean. And you also touched, let's say, stable coins a couple of times. You said like your customers can do payouts or transactions using stable coins.
Right.
I just want to understand. Since you guys are building on Lightning Network, why should someone use, I mean, stable coins when you have Lightning, which is, I assume, please correct me if I'm wrong, as fast as stable coins, right? No?
Yeah. So look, ultimately, business shouldn't care
Okay.
about the rail, just like
Right.
people don't care about TCP/IP, right? I
All
mean,
right.
it's just what we're building is essentially infrastructure so people can go from fiat to fiat or fiat to stables or from stables to fiat. And what happens in the middle, like the sausage making, is abstracted away from them. And not only that, but in in
Okay.
it's our mission to ensure that, again, that middle is extremely optimized. And so there will be cases where Lightning will be much more efficient than a stable coin as a rail.
Okay.
For
All right.
example, there are markets out there where you're going to have challenges or liquidity challenges with a stable coin. There are markets where access to a dollar is difficult. You need to go to a
Okay.
second market. You need to pay a premium for it. I mean, it's just very challenging. And
Okay.
Bitcoin just happens to be the most liquid digital asset out there, and so you don't have that problem with Bitcoin. You can go from fiat to Bitcoin and back from Bitcoin to fiat very efficiently from a cost perspective. And so again, there are markets or corridors where that's going to be the most efficient path, but there are other corridors where stablecoins may be just as efficient or more efficient than Lightning. My point is, businesses shouldn't care. Like we take care of that complexity. We orchestrate based on what the most optimal outcome, and we just deliver the output. And output being like going from USD to INR, as an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. Does that mean that your customers, you just come to you and integrate, and then you basically decide on the rails, right? What rails money is gonna move because you want to deliver the fastest and most efficient way, let's say payouts or settlements and etc. So you guys decide in the background, right? I just come to you
Right.
and say like, hey, I need transfers in dollars and etc. from this country to this country, and you in the background, from technical perspective, decide how to move the money. Do I understand correctly?
Yep. You got it.
Fantastic. Okay. In that case, could you please tell me, like you mentioned this several times again, and this was one of the reasons you guys launched Grid Global Accounts. Like, if businesses mainly want, let's say, US dollars, that in that case, does Bitcoin become a transport layer rather than just a destination? What do you think?
Yeah. It's very important to distinguish the asset from the network, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Bitcoin has, Lightning in this case has been a very effective rail for us. We've been using it at scale, and it works beautifully. It's a different thing if you think about Bitcoin as the asset.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, like part of the Grid Global Account offering is such that people can natively go in and out of Bitcoin. They can use that dollar balance to buy Bitcoin and keep it as an asset
Right.
that they will have in their portfolio. And lots of people want to do that, right? I mean, for whatever the reason is, for trading purposes or just as a stored value. I
Yeah.
think there's no question about the utility of or the scale that Bitcoin has gotten to when it comes to again being that asset. I think not many people discuss or understand enough how Bitcoin can be efficient as a rail, as a network,
Okay.
and that's fine. I think ultimately the success of Bitcoin as a rail will be determined by the scale of business that is running on top of Bitcoin, but it doesn't mean that Bitcoin needs to be visible. Like I said,
Okay.
for our customers, in many cases, they're going from fiat to fiat. We're using Bitcoin as the rail, and they just don't know, right? I mean,
Mhm.
users don't know that they're not exposed to Bitcoin, and so I think that's ultimately, the very definition of a global network. It's just invisible. It's behind the scenes. It's optimal from a speed cost perspective, but it's not something that people need to know about.
Right. And do you think, here's an interesting question, do you think Lightspark is better positioned, let's say, than Adyen or Stripe or Wise maybe, or a few other players in the market in machine-to-machine payment economy, since you guys are already building on, let's say, blockchain technology, because again, your origins, if I understand again correctly, built on Lightning. So do you think you guys are better positioned than those players?
Yeah, there's a reason why people are very excited about agentic commerce right now. I mean, there's the obvious reason, like AI has gotten to massive scale, but
Absolutely.
also if you look at the use cases, more often than not, you're gonna see microtransactions, in that economy,
Yeah.
and that has always been a massive challenge for the traditional rails, whether it's because of how slow they are or because of how expensive they are. Like a card
Hmm.
transaction will cost you the basis points, but it also comes with fixed cost. And so if an agent needs to hit an API and needs to pay for it, the
Yeah.
cost of that transaction alone will offset the entire like, the entire economics of whatever the business is that is powering
Yes.
or that transaction. And so that was uneconomical up
Hmm.
until again recently, when we started to build on top of crypto rails. We started
Right.
to use crypto rails for payment acceptance and
Okay.
money movement. And so again, just not necessarily only applicable to Lightspark, but just industry-wide, I think crypto has gotten to a point where it can actually solve a bunch of problems that were not solved before. So that is one thing. Now,
Okay.
how are we positioning ourselves? I talked a lot about using crypto rails for just money movement, but
Yeah.
under Grid Global Accounts, what we've built is the ability for users of those accounts
Okay.
to create a pocket within those accounts and connect their AI agent of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that important? So far, the industry has been very focused on protocols, and they're important. Like create the right set of frameworks for agents to transact. And there had been a few examples of products that will allow
Okay.
agents to plug in into your financial account. Now, if you are very savvy, you're probably going to want to experiment with that. But the reality is, the average consumer freaks out when they hear that, an agent will access their financial account. And
Mm-hmm.
so, knowing that, what we did is we went beyond, looking at the protocols which we
Okay.
participate in to build a product that really brings, agentic to life for the average user. And so that
Okay.
user, again, maybe they have $5,000 in the account. They can create a
Mm-hmm.
pocket of $500 and
Okay.
and give access to only that pocket to that agent, right? And then create the
Right.
rules around it and permissions around it. And so, if you are that seller, right? Back to my example, you're sitting in Brazil, you have some expenses in the U.S. Instead of giving your entire account access to your entire account to an agent, you can just go back and forth with Claude or OpenAI or Gemini, and you can just say like, "Hey, pay this bill for me," and he will get
Yes.
it done because again, he has access to that pocket, and you allow them to
Exactly.
do so. And so we're really excited about this because agentic, I think, is starting to see traction,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think there's you know any way back. I think we're reaching that point of no return where those AI interfaces become the default interfaces, and we're going to have to find ways for folks to just start to paying for things using their AI tools. And I think this is it. I mean, we're really excited about this product for that reason.
And the best use case so far that comes to my mind with this product of yours is like when you talked about pockets, is subscriptions. When you already know what to pay and how much to pay, you can like freely outsource it to your agent to some sort, and agent would basically handle your subscriptions. And I'm really curious if like the solutions like yours could kill subscription business in the future. What I mean by this is that like instead of for me for let's say paying $20 to Netflix, if I want to watch one movie, let's say, and it costs me like a 0.05, let's assume basically this product of yours would allow me to make that payment, like, or like similar use cases would be very popular in my opinion. But
Yeah.
let's see how the future folds. And as you said, like maybe there is no going back. Yeah, we are still early stage, but very interesting developments are happening. And this is my last question, Davi, basically. So where you guys are going with Lightspark in the, let's say, next 3 to 5 years? What plans do you guys have?
Yeah, look, I think despite the progress we've made over the last years, um, the global economy is massive. Like there's just so much business out there. There's so much opportunity out there. Like I said, even if you look at the traditional rail side of things that people have been optimizing on for decades, 15% of online transactions still fail, and many businesses have no idea why they fail. That's
Right,
a gigantic issue.
right,
If you want, I mean, if I want to send money to you in another country, I mean, most people still rely on their banks and they pay a hefty fee, and it takes days for money to arrive, and it's there's just so much more to be done in fintech, and I think we're going through this very exciting moment where you finally have a real shot at thinking from first principles and building infrastructure that actually solves those problems and
hmm
builds like future proof capabilities. Um,
right,
when I think about Lightspark, again, I'm excited because not only we are operating at the forefront of innovation. So again, think about the AI capabilities that I said, that I described. Think about the crypto capabilities. But we're also ensuring that, again, that 99% of the economy that is still running on traditional rails can benefit from all of these technological advancements. And so there's just lots more to be done. I think we're excited about the progress we're making. We're really excited about this new launch, Grid Global Accounts, and I think ultimately, if we get to a point where moving money is just as simple as sending an email, that is success. I mean, we'll be very happy when that happens.
Very exciting future. Looking forward to it, definitely. Davi, it's been a great conversation. Thank you for coming on the show. For everyone listening to this episode of Wrap Up Podcast, I'll see you in the next one.